Hey, welcome back to my channel, Mrs. Shank Knits. My name's May and this is Knit With Me number 9. This is only the second knitting podcast video I've done in this apartment and I'm having a very hard time figuring out where to film. We're going to try here with this boring wall. If it works, maybe I'll put a lamp here to fix this like dark eye situation and jazz up the wall a bit. Also, I just unsuccessfully filmed this entire thing. I'm doing it again, so that's a huge bummer. Anyway, before I jump into the FO that I just finished, I am wearing one from like quite a while ago. It's awkward to show you. I will just put a picture here. This is the Becca Tank by Amy Gunderson. I made this one a little fitted to wear with my denim cutoff, but you could like make it longer and looser or leggings or whatever. I actually did a tutorial for this pattern that I will link below. I knit it in Sweet Georgia Superwash DK in a full rainbow of colors. The yarn feels so nice to knit with. If you've ever knit with Sweet Georgia, you know. If not, you totally should try. I will link this yarn over on Lovecraft so you can have a peek at it. The pattern itself is really fun to knit. So the straps have this sort of like little kid feel to them with the ties on the shoulders. I'm living dangerously because mine are just knotted, but of course you could and probably should sew them in place to make sure that they're more secure, or even like a double knot would do the trick. It's knit bottom up in the round, so you start with the ribbing and then you just knit until you get to the armholes. Not that they're holes, you know, like it's not an armhole, but anyway, you know what I mean? So you cast off at the arm spot down here, like in the armpit, and then you knit the rest flat. So this section in the front and in the back, and then you just add the I-cord straps at the end. It's actually my favorite part. I'm gonna make another one of these this summer because it is so fun to knit and wear, and it reminds me of like my style when I was 11, so I kind of want to wear different versions of this all summer. So that's what I'm wearing. The other FO I want to talk about, I'm reaching for it, is my Paisan Blouse. I'll show you just up close so you can kind of see. I fell in love with this pattern in 2019 and I finally cast on for it in like late 2020, and then I focused on it for a while and then I didn't, and then when I picked it up again it literally just flew off the needles like so fast. I had to undo my bind off and redo it with the stretchy one because it was too tight, and the stretchy one is like really nice and stretchy. I'm not wearing it because it's not blocked, but I will wear it next week and you can see how the yarn blooms. I mentioned it last week, but it's always worth mentioning yarn again. This is the Top C from DeBoer here in Ontario, with Canadian wool, milled in Canada, dyed right here, like hand dyed right here in Ontario. I just love how rustic it feels, and then once it's knit up, it actually doesn't like look too rustic in a good way. So anyway, I love this yarn. I have more in a peach color for another project that I'll hopefully get started on sometime in the spring, but it's already March, so we'll see. So that's it for FOs. Moving on to WIPS, I have a brand new sock cast on, like it's a baby cast on. It's not really even worth showing you, but I will. Pattern's really fun. It's my first in the M to the 3rd knit along that I was talking about last week. I literally decided on this pattern at breakfast yesterday morning when Sashiko posted that she was making this pattern available for free right now, and I cast on pretty much right away. So the thing with the M to the 3rd knit along is you're supposed to choose as many skeins of sock yarn as you can commit to knit, like as you can commit to knitting, sorry, in a year, and then you wrap them up and then open them at random. But I wanted these to be scrappy socks, and you'll see why in just a second. So I added 2 small bags of scrap yarn to the assortment of the 6 that I had already chosen, and so this is the bag that I picked. This is the what I ended up going with. So they're not truly scrappy because 2 of these are fresh balls of yarn. These are the Retro Zaria. So the pattern is New Wave Socks from Sashiko Bergen. She has a lot of beautiful patterns available on Ravelry, and this sock pattern is free right now, as I mentioned. She and her twin sister recently released a book of patterns with pom-pom, and it is gorgeous. So yeah, New Wave Socks. They require a main color and 3 contrasts. So the main color and one of the contrasts is Retro Zaria Mondim. So economical and fun to knit with. The main color is this dark gray. It is 117, and then I've got this one, which is 106, and then some mystery sock scraps. I believe they're both Riverside yarns in Quebec, but I'm not totally sure because it's been so long. So right now it is just a wee baby of a cast on, and I defaulted to using my DPNs. The last pair of socks I made, I did them the magic loop 2 at a time, and it was really cool to learn how to do that, but I just couldn't keep my tension right when I was going between them. And if you're doing anything other than a vanilla sock, I feel like the instructions might not, like the pattern might not line up with your counts on the circulars. I made the color palette socks, Laurel Knits. I'll design them, I'll link that. I mean, obviously I'll link everything, but I did the color palette socks when I did the 2 at a time, and the pattern wasn't really affected by magic loops. So I do really love the technique, but for me personally, it doesn't work with every pattern. And this is the second sock pattern of sashikos that I've done. The first was in the Vervain, I believe, and the 52 Weeks of Socks from Lane. I just want to do it justice, so DPNs it. Other WIPs I've already shown you. Sorry, I'm just reaching. But I will share some progress. So my Folklore Cardigan is in my Cozy Up Knits bag. Love these gals from Northern Alberta. Anyway, so my Folklore Cardigan, sorry. I'm on the first sleeve, and full disclosure, I made a huge mistake at the bottom that even I couldn't leave. So I ripped it all back, and now this is the second version, second iteration of this sleeve. And so the back piece is done. So I've just got these 2 sleeves to do and the 2 front pieces. Once I get in a flow, I can knit these cables. So it's just about carving out enough time to actually do it. I did mention last week that I, have been kind of jumping around different projects and stuff. So I'm just trying to focus on different things at different times of the day to kind of make sure that I give all my WIPs some equal love. This pattern is really addicting. It's by Lion Brand, and I'm knitting it up in Paintbox Erin. But anyway, it's very addicting. It's really cool to watch the cables come together, like just to kind of watch them grow. It's really neat. I'm a big fan of cables though, so if, like, not everyone is. If you're not, then this is probably not the pattern for you. If you are, then it is. And it's part of the Crazy Cabled Sweater Cal, hosted by Sock Witchery and Crazy Sock Lady. If you take a look at that hashtag, you will see all kinds of way more complicated cabled patterns than this, and I think this is pretty complicated. But if you look at that hashtag, the ladies knitting in this cal, they're crazy amazing. It's like bananas. So yeah, I can't even imagine. One day I will get there, but yeah, it's crazy to see. My next WIP is a repeat, actually. This is my second set of Towie mitts. I'm working on a video tutorial for these. They're designed by KnitLib, aka Susan, and I think I love this wrist even more than the first time around. I'm using 2 variegateds held together to see what happens, and sometimes it's magic like this. This is my own hand-dyed yarn, and then I've matched it with the Leo and Roxy sock and quartz. I really, really, really love the combination. They don't look like a whole lot now, but it doesn't take long for these guys to come together. I'm at the thumb gusset, and because I'm filming for a tutorial, I can't just pick it up and knit on it whenever. I have to do it when I'm filming it, and then knit, the bigger chunks in between. But anyway, they're very practical and pretty simple, and I love them. So yeah, that's my other active WIP, and my beekeeper quilt. So I counted. I did not drag the whole quilt out here, but I did grab my bag of the week. Oh, whoops. This one I think will be the first one for next week. I'll count it as number 1. I have 9 altogether for this week. It's kind of funny. I feel like I look at them oh, I don't know what any of these are, but this is Forbidden Fibers. Literally my whole situation just came crashing down. Yeah, some of them I recognize, right? This is Bashful from Hue Logo, pretty sure. This is Forbidden Fibers. I recognize some of this from the Advent calendar from Crux Fibers from 2 years ago, but I'm not 100% on a lot of these. That's a funny thing about doing a scrappy blanket that spans years. The newest yarns I remember, and some of the older ones that are more nostalgic to me I remember, but scraps from random socks that I made my neighbor 8 years ago, I don't remember offhand. It is fun to see the pile grow though, a lot of fun. But yeah, that's it for my WIPs. I used to be a very monogamous knitter, and then the more I knit, I decided I need a simple project and one I can just work on whenever, and a complicated one to do when I have time. And then it was well, I need a big one for home, and then a smaller one for travel. And then now I do stuff like I did yesterday, and I cast on a new sock because I saw a picture and I couldn't resist the pattern. So it's kind of funny, but I enjoy having some on the go, a lot of different things to choose from. And hopefully I'll be casting on a little more soon. Thurston Knits put out a testing call this week for this adorable tee called the Mini VT. I already know what yarn I want to make it with, but I'll let you know if I get selected to test, and I'll tell you about it. And the Knit Savvy posted a call for testers this week too. I think it was yesterday actually, for these cute socks. They're called Spring Bloom socks, and I love them, and I think I know exactly what yarn that I would use for them. So I'm just giving myself today to decide if I actually have time to do them. I think I do. You only need to have one sock done, like for the test. So I think I can do that in that given time frame. The more I get into pattern design, the more interested I am in test knitting. I did a lot of test knitting a couple years ago, and I always happily test knitting patterns for friends who are designers, but I'm really interested in the process of like how you go from inspiration to prototype to pattern to editing to testing to editing again and releasing. I've been working on some sweater patterns for dogs that have a fun element that I'll kind of wait till I'm done the first one before I share it with you to make it a little more fun. Right now I'm working on a cabled sweater pattern for like medium to small dogs. The neat thing about my 2 favorite ways to knit a dog sweater is you can really customize the armholes and sleeves. So it'll like fit your specific dog. So nothing is worse, I find, than like you spend ages knitting this fun dog sweater and then it has like a wonky arm fit. So one way I like to knit it, like these dog sweaters, is the front and back separately. My cable pattern is like that actually. And then the armholes are made from where you seam the 2 pieces together, so they can be as big or as small as you like them to be, and then you can pick up for sleeves or not. And the other way is to knit the whole thing like in a tube and then just stick in the armholes wherever they fit your dog best. Like I just find that when you're trying to knit a dog sweater and instructions for different sizes are often like breed specific, or if they do have exact measurements, that they still like might not line up with your dog's unique shape, you know, and that's part of why I wanted to try my hand at it myself. It's cool to see how this kind of shapes up. So that's what I'm working on right now. That's like the thing that I'm excited to show you. I'll show you hopefully some next week. Want to follow along on Instagram to see daily WIP updates? I am Mrs. Shank Knits over there. And don't forget to like this video to show some support. And if you're new here and you like these casual knitting videos, subscribe to my channel for more. Thanks guys, bye.